Scott Ludoff owns and operates Scrappy Pappy's Recycling in the city he grew up in, Wheeling. He accepts a long list of items at his single-stream recycling facility.
So we get rid of probably 30,000 pounds of all your cardboard and plastics in that. All the other stuff within that week is all your glass, your metals, other materials. But that equals 50,000 pounds a week we do.
Residents of Wheeling have been sending about 1,000 tons of waste to landfills every month for more than a decade. Recycling hasn't really picked up as a social norm in the city of about 28,000 people. Ludoff wants to change the status quo.
So this is great to teach our children that not everything needs to be thrown away. We can recycle probably safely 80 to 85% of what gets thrown in the landfill. So we want to try to challenge ourselves and make the future better and make it brighter. So it's all about them. It goes in the paper. There you go. See? We could have fun like this all day.
He hand separates, bales, and sells the various materials, paper, plastics, cardboard, metals, to local companies interested in reusing them. But it's hard for a small business to play the commodities game and make money because prices fluctuate based on global trends.
We did 1 million pounds of recycling last year, so we're looking at doing 2 million this year. We're here to make a difference and to change our whole city and hopefully our state.
Ludoff is also competing with the second largest waste management company in the U.S., Republic Services. Republic does not offer recycling in Wheeling. Big companies have very few, if any, financial incentives to divest from the much simpler business of landfilling.
If we quit, there's not going to be another recycling program to try to come here. Because it takes too much money and too much effort to start it again. Like I said, I would have never done this if I went from zero to now. But we've done it for years. And I can do a lot more. And the more I realize that I can do it and the city is behind me, there's nothing we can't do.
Ludoff started his recycling business about 5 years ago. In the region of about 40,000, he sees about 50 residents a day dropping off their own recycling. But Ludoff says with more community buy-in, he could build a facility that employs dozens. His ultimate dream is to go a step further and manufacture products from the recycled materials he collects. Kind of sounds like a pipe dream, right? Well, communities in the Eastern Panhandle have already accomplished something pretty similar. In 1989, West Virginia lawmakers passed a bill that's goal was to reduce residential waste going to landfills by 50% by 2010. The bill was necessary to meet federal requirements. According to data collected by the state over the years, West Virginia hasn't yet made any progress toward that goal. But there are a few communities in the state that are serious about recycling, including Berkeley County.
My name's Clint Hogbin. I'm chairman of the Berkeley County Solid Waste Authority. Okay. We have a recycling program that started in 1995 and has grown appreciably since that time.
Berkeley County recycles a wide spectrum of commodities, from glass and electronics to paper, plastic, and metals to yard and food waste.
We have almost an individual market for each one of those items. So I can't name one company or even 2 or 3 companies that gets it all.
Berkeley County's Solid Waste Authority also partners with a local residential waste hauler, Apple Valley Waste. That allows for curbside services for the public. John Decker is the managing partner of Apple Valley.
Generally, it is not an extremely profitable venture, but there is a cost avoidance when it comes to landfills. You know, when you look at landfills, they will likely be an intricate part of the solid waste circle for a long time. But what we want to try to do is move them to the back of the line instead of the front of the line. So instead of the material finding a landfill first, after being processed, recycled, etc., that it finds the landfill last, the residuals, what's left over. And so that's our goal.
And like Scott Ludoff's dream of taking recycling a step further toward repurposing, folks in Berkeley County have made that a reality. They're achieving the goal by investing in a company called Ensorga.
So it's kind of the next step. So after you recycle, you have what's left over, right, that was not recycled by the homeowner or separated at the curb. So you have what we would call today as MSW. And that material has traditionally only been able to be landfilled or incinerated. And what Ensorga presents is an opportunity to do something further and reduce that volume even more before it ends up in a landfill. So the Ensorga process is a very simple, that's one of the things that attracted us to it. It's a very simple, very environmentally friendly process. We basically, in the process, will just dry the waste, and it's done so with just forced air. No heat, no combustion, no hot air, just forced air. The heat element that helps with the drying comes from the actual decomposition of the waste itself. So much like you may see a compost pile or a manure pile steaming in the winter, it's the same sort of process that helps with the Ensorga process. And once the material is dried, it's then sorted for some recyclables. Metals will be pulled out, aluminum will be pulled out, and the remaining material is a very dry, almost confetti-like material that happens to be a great product to use either in concert or as a substitute for coal. So it's pretty exciting stuff. And through all of that, we will again reduce the amount of material that's being landfilled to down to probably maybe 20%. So we will have hopefully an 80% diversion rate here in the Panhandle in the very near future.
We all think about tomorrow and the impact we're having today, and landfills don't last forever. But along the way, you're doing some other good things. You're creating jobs. Managing your waste stream through recycling generally creates 6 times more jobs than if you just landfill the material. In some cases, more than 6 times.
Hogbin says once you crunch all of the numbers, it really costs about the same to recycle as it does to landfill.
So we're competitive in the short term, and it's the right thing to do, and we're very competitive in the long term when you look at the environmental cost of landfill remediation that you don't have when you recycle something.
Hogbin says it took a lot of local political support to face the continuous legal battles with landfill companies over the years to get Berkeley County to where it is today. He says ultimately, it's the will of the community that makes recycling possible. For West Virginia Public Broadcasting, I'm Glynis Board in Wheeling.